Max Verstappen has reportedly uncovered a serious issue in Red Bull's brand new RB22, the team's first car fully powered by the RBPT Ford engine. Insiders suggest this could affect not only performance but reliability, potentially a nightmare before the 2026 season even begins. This comes at a critical moment. Red Bull has invested heavily into becoming a full-engine manufacturer, partnered with Ford, redesigned their suspension, and integrated rookie Isaac Hadjar alongside Verstappen. A flaw now could jeopardize victories, disrupt championship plans, and even threaten their decade-long dominance. While the details are closely guarded, sources indicate the problem could involve hybrid energy delivery, torque inconsistencies, or interaction with the chassis that only Verstappen could detect. Rival teams are already watching, anticipating Red Bull might stumble before the first race. Later in the video, we'll reveal exactly what Verstappen found, the potential impact on the 2026 campaign, and why this discovery could reshape the championship battle before Melbourne. This is a story with far-reaching consequences, and what you'll see later is even more shocking than what's been revealed so far. Red Bull's 2026 preseason has been thrown into unexpected turmoil after Max Verstappen reportedly discovered a serious issue in the RB22 during early testing. The team's first fully RBPT Ford-powered car is facing scrutiny as engineers scramble to identify whether this problem is a minor glitch or a more systemic flaw. Sources suggest the discovery could influence both engine reliability and drivability, forcing Red Bull to temporarily shift focus from performance optimization to intensive diagnostics. Every lap during testing is now evaluated not just for speed but for signs of further complications, setting an unusually tense tone for the start of preseason. At the heart of the discovery is the interaction between the RBPT Ford power unit and the RB22 chassis. Verstappen reportedly noticed irregularities in torque delivery, energy deployment, or hybrid system synchronization, raising questions about how the car will perform under race conditions. Engineers are conducting extensive simulations to determine whether these inconsistencies are isolated incidents or indicative of deeper integration issues. The sheer complexity of the RB22, combining a new engine, updated electronics, and aerodynamic innovations, makes understanding and resolving the problem a monumental challenge. The chassis and suspension design may also be implicated in the issue. Reports suggest that under certain high-speed or high-load scenarios, the RB22 exhibits unusual balance characteristics that could amplify any underlying engine or hybrid irregularity. Red Bull's engineering team has reportedly begun cross-analyzing power unit behavior with suspension and tire feedback, attempting to isolate the exact root cause of Verstappen's observations. Even small misalignments could compromise lap consistency and race performance, highlighting the high stakes of preseason development. Strategically, the discovery has forced Red Bull to rethink their testing priorities. Instead of focusing solely on optimizing aerodynamics, suspension settings, and tire management, the team must allocate significant resources to diagnosing and mitigating the discovered flaw. Each test, simulation, and wind tunnel session is now dual-purpose: performance validation and problem identification. This defensive approach underscores how a single discovery from a driver of Verstappen's caliber can reshape preseason strategy for a top-tier F1 team. Psychologically, the discovery places enormous pressure on Verstappen and the engineering team. As the driver who detected the problem, Verstappen must provide precise and actionable feedback while continuing to push the car to collect meaningful performance data. Engineers must interpret this information quickly, balancing immediate corrections with the need to avoid introducing new issues. This scenario highlights the crucial role of drivers in modern F1 as both competitors and integral technical collaborators, whose observations can define development priorities and influence strategic decisions. The ripple effects extend beyond Red Bull itself. Rival teams such as Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren are reportedly monitoring testing sessions closely, analyzing lap times and telemetry for any signs of vulnerability. Even without direct access to internal data, competitors can infer potential weaknesses and adjust their own preseason strategies. Verstappen's discovery has effectively become a strategic factor that reverberates across the grid, turning preseason into a high-stakes intelligence exercise as well as a technical evaluation. Finally, the long-term implications for Red Bull's 2026 campaign are significant. If the discovered issue is not fully resolved, it could affect early season performance, driver confidence, and long-term reliability. Engineers are under immense pressure to validate every component, every energy map, and every interaction within the car. Verstappen's early observations have transformed preseason testing from routine evaluation into a high-pressure crucible where each decision carries amplified consequences for Red Bull's championship trajectory in 2026. The first partial revelation came as Verstappen reported irregularities in the RB22's power delivery during high-speed sections of the circuit. Insiders suggest the issue may involve hybrid energy deployment, torque consistency, or the car's interaction with its new chassis configuration. The engineering team immediately shifted focus from performance optimization to analysis and problem-solving, scrutinizing telemetry data for any patterns that could indicate a systemic issue. Even small deviations were treated as critical, highlighting the seriousness of Verstappen's observations and the high stakes of preseason testing. Rival teams reportedly noticed unusual activity during Red Bull sessions. Competitors such as Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren began closely monitoring lap times, sector splits, and observable engine behavior, attempting to detect vulnerabilities. Even without full access to internal data, subtle inconsistencies in Red Bull's performance suggested to rivals that something could be affecting the RB22. Early whispers in the paddock indicate that teams are adjusting their own simulations and strategies in response, emphasizing how a single technical anomaly can reverberate across the grid. The complexity of the RB22's hybrid power unit adds layers of challenge. Verstappen's discovery may involve multiple interdependent systems, including energy recovery, deployment mapping, and integration with the chassis. Engineers are running repeated simulations to test how these irregularities manifest under different track conditions and load scenarios. Each test aims to determine whether the problem is a minor calibration error or a deeper flaw that could compromise reliability or lap consistency over race distances. Strategically, Red Bull has had to pivot its preseason priorities. Instead of concentrating solely on aerodynamic refinements, suspension adjustments, and tire management, the team now dedicates significant resources to diagnosing and mitigating the discovered flaw. Every wind tunnel test, CFD simulation, and track session is analyzed for both performance and potential risk. This defensive strategy demonstrates how a single driver's discovery can instantly redefine preseason objectives and engineering focus in a top F1 team. Psychologically, the impact on Verstappen and his engineering team is significant. As the driver who identified the problem, Verstappen must provide accurate, nuanced feedback while pushing the car to extract valuable performance data. Engineers rely heavily on his observations to implement immediate corrections, all while ensuring no new issues are introduced. This high-pressure environment illustrates the increasingly critical role of drivers in modern Formula One as technical collaborators who influence preseason development and strategy. The paddock is reportedly reacting to the discovery. Rival teams are reassessing their preseason programs, simulations, and track strategies after observing Red Bull's unusual behavior. Even limited awareness of potential RB22 vulnerabilities is prompting competitors to plan contingencies, highlighting how Verstappen's early detection affects not only his team but the strategic landscape of the entire grid. Preseason testing has evolved from a routine evaluation into a high-stakes competitive arena where information and observation matter as much as raw speed. Finally, the early revelation raises questions about Red Bull's readiness for the 2026 season. Resolving the issue is critical for ensuring early season performance, driver confidence, and reliability of the RBPT Ford engine. Engineers must validate each component, map, and system interaction to prevent a flaw from undermining results once the championship begins. Verstappen's discovery has turned preseason into a high-stakes investigation, where each decision, test, and analysis carries consequences that could define the team's trajectory for the entire 2026 campaign. The key twist emerging from Verstappen's discovery is the possibility that the issue in the RB22 could affect Red Bull's entire 2026 campaign. Sources indicate the problem might impact hybrid energy deployment, engine chassis integration, or torque consistency, threatening reliability and performance across all circuits. Engineers are now racing against the clock to determine whether this is a minor fix or a systemic flaw. Each test session carries high stakes, as even slight inconsistencies could cascade into major consequences for both qualifying and race pace. Central to the twist is the hybrid energy system. Verstappen reportedly observed irregularities in energy recovery and deployment patterns, affecting corner exit speeds and overall car behavior. Engineers are running multiple simulations to evaluate how these inconsistencies might manifest under different track types, tire compounds, and load conditions. This complexity under 2026 regulations means solving the issue is not straightforward, and any misstep in adjustments could lead to further unpredictability during race weekends. The FIA adds an additional layer of pressure. While Red Bull has not breached regulations, the RB22's integration of hybrid deployment and new engine components could draw scrutiny if performance characteristics appear to push the boundaries. Any corrective action perceived as borderline could result in inquiries or protests from rival teams. Red Bull must navigate the fine line between optimizing performance and ensuring compliance, making every engineering decision during preseason extremely consequential. Strategically, the discovery has forced Red Bull to reprioritize preseason development. Instead of focusing solely on aero refinement, suspension tuning, or tire management, engineers must dedicate significant resources to diagnosing and mitigating the discovered issue. Every lap, wind tunnel test, and CFD simulation is now analyzed with a dual focus: performance validation and risk mitigation. This defensive posture underscores how a single technical discovery from a driver can redefine preseason strategy for an elite Formula One team. Psychologically, the pressure on Verstappen and his team is enormous. As the driver who identified the issue, Verstappen must deliver precise feedback while pushing the RB22 to generate meaningful performance data. Engineers rely heavily on his insights to implement corrective measures, all while avoiding the introduction of new complications. This scenario highlights the critical role drivers play in modern Formula One as both competitors and technical collaborators, whose observations can directly influence team strategy and technical decisions. The ripple effect of the discovery has extended across the paddock. Rival teams like Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren are reportedly adjusting their simulations, testing priorities, and race strategies in response to signs of instability in the RB22. Even indirect awareness of potential weaknesses is enough to influence competitor planning and preseason preparations. Verstappen's discovery has transformed preseason testing into a high-stakes contest, where observation, interpretation, and rapid decision-making are as crucial as lap times. Finally, the long-term implications for Red Bull's 2026 campaign are profound. Resolving the problem is critical not only for performance and reliability but also for driver confidence, team morale, and championship strategy. Project timelines, component validation, and hybrid system development are now under intense scrutiny. Verstappen's early detection has turned preseason into a high-stakes crucible, where each engineering decision, every test, and all simulations carry consequences that could define Red Bull's trajectory for the entire 2026 season.